Hi, welcome to Pastor Paints. I'm going to tackle a watercolor painting today that I am anxious to try. This will be, I'm hoping, this will be a painting of St. Botolph's Church in Boston, Lincolnshire, England. As I get started here, what this essentially is right now, this is just a piece of clear plastic. And I've taken a picture, just a generic picture that I like. I found one online, just open source, something I liked that was good angle. And I do this sometimes just because my eye is not as good in terms of spatial distance. I'll go ahead and I'll trace just the main elements of it onto like a clear plastic, and I'll start with that. Maybe it's cheating, I don't know. And what I've already done is I've gone ahead and I've sketched this out. So I'm take my clear plastic off, and I've sketched out in pencil underneath. And now, as you can see, it's very, very rough. There's really only a few guidelines to it. And what I'm going to do is this is going to be a line-in painting. So I'm taking just like a fountain pen, like a very, very fine tip point, and I'm going to go ahead and start with my lines. And then once that's dried, I'll go ahead and I'll do some watercolor to get it alive a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and use my guide painting here, my guide picture, to sort of help me sketch this out. And I really want to, there's several things I really want to try to accomplish with this. It's not going to be real precise. It's going to be pretty rough. But that's kind of a style that I like, that I'm going for. So I'm just going to go ahead and start doing this. But really, I've seen these kinds of line-in paintings. One of my favorite artists is a guy named Peter Sheeler, and he does really amazing work with line-in. And there's a certain stylistic appeal to it, where it looks real enough where you know what it is, but it's really not. It's not going for hyper-realism. I mean, I see some watercolor paintings that are so good, so precise and so accurate. It looks like it could be a painting or a picture. Not a painting, a picture. And the thing about this one too, and this is the reason I'm kind of tackling this in the way that I am, is that this one is really going to be. This is so detailed. I mean, if you've ever seen a photograph of St. Botolph's in Boston, it's a really ornate. I think it was built somewhere around the 11th or 12th century, and it's really just a remarkable building. And the reason I like it is because one of my favorite Puritan pastors pastored that church, John Cotton, and he was a stalwart of Puritanism at the time, and he was eventually driven out of the church because of persecution. His church loved him, but he was driven out, and then he fled to America and was the pastor of the church in Boston, Massachusetts. And it's actually been said that they named the town Boston after John Cotton's hometown. But I keep on seeing discussion about that it might not be what I think, but I like to go with the idea that it was because of John Cotton. All right, now I'm going to leave this this pencil open here. See, there's two trees. There's a church. It's surrounded by two trees, at least in this painting. So I'm going to leave those open because the watercolor should fill that in pretty nicely. And this is the first time I've tried this one. Sometimes, if I'm trying to go for, a specific look, if I'm trying to paint something like, some things I just paint because they're fun, but other times I'll paint something that I really want to do. A very specific painting that I really want to get right. And so I really would like to have, just for myself, a painting of this church, just because I think it's gorgeous. And there's like a personal connection for me. So I might, this is my first attempt at this one, so I may or may not try this again in the future if this doesn't go the way I had hoped. But regardless, you know, this is, the reason I got into painting was for fun. Now sometimes, and my wife will tell you, if the painting doesn't come out the way I wanted it to, if it just looks awful, it can be a source of great consternation for me. I really do, as much as I am not really an artist, I really do like to make good things. I want to do a good job with these. I don't want it to be shoddy at all. I want it to be nice. So I really do try to do a nice job with these paintings. All right, so what I'm doing, as you can see, and I know you're just kind of following along and seeing what I'm doing, this is just line in. Again, I don't really care that the lines are not, as long as my general shape is straight, as long as you know, everything is in the right direction. I don't care about the crispness of the lines. I just want the shape to be right, because what happens, and you know this if you know anything about just how perspective and the eye works, but you know, you'll look at it and you'll know what it is, and so your eye will accept it. But then you get to have some fun, and your eye gets to kind of look at all the different colors. I don't even know what kinds of colors I'm going to go for with this one, but I might get a little bit nuts. I'm not sure. But this, the original, I mean, the church is, oh my goodness, it's such an ornate building. I mean, it's really remarkable. They don't build buildings like this anymore. I mean, this was just a marvelous, I mean, it was built as a Catholic church, what we would know to be the Catholic Church. And then after the Reformation, it was kind of, you know, grabbed by the Protestants in England, and it was repurposed, if you will. And when John Cotton was coming out of seminary, he had the opportunity to go and pastor this church. And inside is really also very ornate and very beautiful. And I just can't imagine, I mean, I'm a preacher in New England. I'm a pastor in New Hampshire. And I mean, the building I'm in is really very pretty, but it's nowhere near what these kinds of things were. So just building the spires here. I'm going to have to get very creative with how this goes. And then there's a little bit of a spire back here and back there. Whoop. And I'm probably going to just do that. Again, I'm just trying to get the sense of it. And there's going to be another one back here. But yeah, I mean, each one of these is just so ornate and really quite remarkable. And what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm probably not going to capture all of the splendor and the detail and the beauty of this building, only because it's just well, first of all, with a pen, it's just not going to be that way, because there's so many. It's just a tower. I mean, there's just so many little lines and, you know, little details that are just really quite astounding. And there's like a little arm that comes off of here like that. And what's going to be neat is when I get to actually painting this, there's going to be some daylight right in here, which will be nice. Now I got to try to find a way to connect all these dots here. Now I'll start down here actually, I think. Come across like that. And this just really... Now there's some really neat shadows, which I'll try to highlight as I paint. There's a building behind, so there's a spire, and then the long way there's I mean, the building behind it in and of itself is an ornate church by today's standards. I mean, the building, the worship part of it, the actual sanctuary, is really remarkable, and it's like a roof that comes across like that, and then that is like a little cupola. Yeah, I mean the building that's behind it is astounding, and then you have this just immense spire that goes over there, and then back here, I probably won't even highlight the whole thing, but there's these like little columns. Go like that, bring that down. There's gonna be, I mean, it's just, I'll probably just do this for the sake of getting the shape of it, because I'm not, by the time I get back here, I'm not gonna do much. I might just do a little bit of some sort of garnish there, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I'm doing this as I'm looking at the picture, and it is so incredibly complex, and I really just want to try to do justice to the shape of it, and then allow for the painting itself to kind of come alive with the paints. There seems to be some, just looks like something out of Lord of the Rings. It's really quite amazing. I'll just do that, bring that over a smidge. That works. And then if that wasn't enough, you have these massive windows. I mean, it's just unreal. How far up does that go? That goes up to, it's almost like there's eyes there. Hello. I don't want to ruin this by, so go straight down. Straight down. Now when I penciled this in, I penciled it kind of crooked because I was following the contour of the clear plastic, but I'm going to bring these in and pull that down. There you go. It's a little bit oblong. There we go. Fills it out a smidge. You know, and who knows, maybe this will be a painting for the cover of a book I do or something, I'm not sure. Or maybe I'll hate it so much I'll throw it away and delete the video, which I've been known to do. But if I can get a decent sketch here, if my line in is decent, then really once you add the color, I mean you're just filling it out at that point, and it's really hard to ruin it with color if your sketch starts off okay. So again, I'm not super worried about the shape of this. You know, as you know, that there's just so much here, so much more here. Bring some lines down, and then I've got, I think I'll do that other window first. Oh, good grief, that's a huge one. Wow, there's so much here. Oh, wow, what do I even do? How do I approach this? Let's see, I'll bring that down. I mean, who in the world was the architect? I'm sure that there was, you know, it's on the history book somewhere, but it's just astounding. I mean, who's the janitor for this place, you know? That's what I want to know. just doing some real basic lines to it. It's not going to be much. But then this, there's like a whole other there's so many vertical lines to this thing. I mean, it's really just astounding. That's going to be a shadow that I do. That's going to be like a cross beam. That comes over like that. That'll be like that. That's going to be another one up here. Again, if I can just get a real rough sketch to it. Just make this look good. Bring that down a smidge. Just get some basic lines. And once the I'm just creating these vertical things here because that's really what's consisting. Yeah, I mean, the architecture in this is, I mean, like I keep on saying, it's just astounding. Pull that down. I might even go for some like darker shading, maybe like a gray or something. These are all doorways themselves. So I mean, just this little tiny, that's about the size of a person right there. So I mean, this is, I don't even know how tall. I think I read it somewhere, it's like 138 feet or something like that. So this bottom one is in and done for the most part. There's a couple of, like that. That's coming in good. And then I'm going to try to bring that in. And I'll probably do some coloration with that. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 there. Then they go 1, 2, 3, and 1. That's what they're doing. And these get filled out a bit more. I can tell the nib on my pen is starting to kind of wear down, so my lines are getting sort of fat here, but that's okay. I think it'll actually work out all right. I mean, you'll have the sense of what this is. I mean, no one's going to look at this and not know it's some kind of a Mordor-like superstructure in which they preach the word of God and honor the Lord. Just really. Now I want to sort of beef this line here. The thing about line in is you can always add. Let me look at this again. How is that looking? That's coming in nice. This is going to end up being in the shadows here, but that's okay. And these will, the whole thing is mirrored all the way around, but again, I just want to sort of connect these. And I don't want it to be like a, you know, just a picture that's sort of out there hanging. I want it to look like a building, like a structure, and have connecting lines, you know, Now there are a few that are along there. This will be darker on that side, so this will actually look okay. I think I want, maybe just bring that down there. How am I looking on that? It's real light. That is going to be a little bit of a fatter ridge. Like this, and then like that. I think I've just about exhausted what I'm going to do. See, the trick about line in is that you don't want to go too much. Because if you go too much, you flood your. I'm just boldening up some of these lines. You over flood the painting, and it kills it. It really does kill it. So you don't want to do that. I'm just putting. See, there's some ridges. Really, what they are is just shadows coming off of certain, inlets there. This will be substantially darker over there. All right. Well, I think I like that. Let me just actually I kind of want to fatten up that tower, that right there. With some ridges. I think that'll work. You get close to this thing. I mean, you probably get up there with a drone and you'll see like, probably just amazing architecture that I just can't even fathom on this right here. But these are just like little nibs just in case there's some edging that I gotta hit here. Okay. I think I like that as a start. Great. So now I'm gonna pull my paint in, and I always get nervous when you get to this point because you wanna do a good job here. Sorry, I'm gonna start by wetting the surface, and I'll be very, very careful that I don't. I knew I was gonna do that. Pull that back in. Can I save that? I should have let that dry a little bit longer. Well, it's not going to be the end of the world. If anything, it'll give a nod to the fact that it's watercolor, I'm just wetting my surface here. Just have to be really careful I don't hit my surface building too much here. Now I can mix up a little bit of blue. Just creating a little tiny bit of blue color here. Now look what I'm just able to do is just bring that up and down the edge here. Bring in my blue right to the very edge of the building. I'm not going to go too close because I really don't want to risk running my ink off the But I'm going to bring this over. And the fact that it's kind of, you know, a little bit, you know, blotchy there. I mean, it's sky, so, you know, if anything, it'll look a little bit like, you know, some cloud cover. I'm just going to bring this right down to the edge here. Bring this up and over. I'll tell you, I'm just picking this up for fun, so I am not, you know, a master painter when it comes to knowing how to get real close here and do a great job in terms of, I mean, I'm so new at this, and there are probably people who can do this much better than I could, but, you know, I'm having fun, and that's really all I'm trying to do, is just have fun. Now what I want to do is there's a nice little effect here where I want to bring that blue color right in between. Going right in there. Because I want to see the sky in between. There's going to be daylight in between that. Now, I have a little bit too much color, so all you do is you just dry your brush and pull it back out again. Dry your brush, pull it back out. Now, that's going to dry pretty, I think it's going to dry pretty light, so I'm not too concerned about it being real thick like that. But I'm just going to, I'll grab a little bit more up here. Pull that over. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Pull that out. So again, the focus is not the sky. The focus is going to be the building. So just try to get in between there, and then just pull that out. There we go. That'll work. It's a good start. And I got my blue kind of peeping through the back there. That'll be nice. So I'm just gonna clean my brush off and start going through to a different thing altogether. So now now what I'm doing here is you always want to go light to dark. So in my coloration, in my mixing of my paints, it's kind of like a yellow, like a gold and a yellow sort of a look to it. So I'm going to mix up some yellow. Mix up a little bit of orange. Maybe a little bit less orange, actually. I'll put that over there. I think I'm going to bring some brown into the mix. Now, what I did not do is you want to grab a test piece. Test piece will be great because then you can try out your colors on the test piece as you're getting ready. See, that's really light. That's way too light for me. Pull it across. So I'm gonna go too much water. See, that's a lot of water. And make it a little bit brighter. That's a good start. All right, dry my brush, get my smaller brush, and then I can start to work here. I'm going to work quickly because I don't want to lose all my color. All right. Make sure I don't touch my trees with this, because that's going to be a whole different color. And what I don't want to do is create problems for myself when I go to paint my trees. There's always a risk. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like painting trees at all. I don't like it. I'm not very good at it. It is a challenge for me, and it's just not what I want to be doing. But, you know, you want to paint anything with realism, you need trees. I guess it could be one of those guys that just paints buildings and structures and never touches a tree, but boy, you know, I feel like if I can get these trees, the picture I'm using is, there's this gorgeous color that's just fantastic, and I want to make sure that I show that. I can't believe that John Cotton had the privilege of preaching in this building. It's really, I just can't even get over that. I can't even get over the fact that these buildings even exist. And furthermore, if these buildings exist on Earth, built 1,000 years ago, I mean, what in the world is going to be, what is heaven going to be like? What kind of buildings and structures will there be in heaven for the worship of God, you know? I'm actually going to fill this in, knowing full well that I'm going to be doing more with this. I'm starting to lose my color here, but that's all right. The thing about watercolor is that you don't have to be exact. I mean, there's all kinds of holes in what I'm doing here in terms of the spacing and different thicknesses showing up on the paper. And, you know, I'm not really, like I said, I mean, it's a line-in painting or a line-in drawing becoming a painting. I'm really not as concerned, you know, about all the different things. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some darker paint. Now this is all still drying, but I'm going to grab a little bit of some of the darker spots here. And hopefully this is not going to run too bad. Now see, look at that. So the color, it just starts to blend and create these shadows, and it's just texture. I'm just bringing in some texture. That's all I'm doing. Just bringing some of that, bringing some of that down. See, it just kind of, it livens it up. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch brushes and start going for some of these angles of these really, really small. I'm actually going to bring in a tad more of the brown. And I want to start building some of these shadows up here. I got to move around here. My camera's in the way, but I want to be careful. Bring a little more brown in. I want to keep on increasingly darkening the painting and the shadow areas. I don't think my paint is thick enough right here, though. That's the thing. I'm going to mix up some more color, though, and I think I'm going to go a bit more brown. Go a bit more brown and yellow. So I can create kind of a darker. There's my phone. Hi.
Hey, honey.
Is it an emergency?
No, I just had a question. Are you in a meeting?
Can I call you back?
Yes.
Let me call you back.
Okay.
Bye. We'll see how that goes. Still got some paint on this brush, so I'm going to bring that down. So now all I'm doing is I'm just playing with some textures here. This is a little bit of a lighter shade that I'm bringing in. Because the sun is really hitting the front of this thing. So I'm just having some fun with some of the colors on this. Now if you let the paint dry a bit and kind of scrape, oops, that's a little bit too much scraping, but that's okay. It can create some really nice additions there. All right, so I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna try to bring some more brown and a little tiny bit of black. A bit more black. I'm going to create my shadows now. That's not quite dry yet, so I think I'll do that over here then. This is my farthest shadow here. This is going to shadow the inside here. So all the different elements that are hitting all the way up the side of it, that's got to be in the shadows. Very, very light shadows here. Just to kind of get the idea that there's a ridge. All right, I think that's going to be good for that. Let's switch over and let's do some of these trees in this this walkway here. The walkway, I'm going to get a little bit of the orange, lighten it up a smidge, get some yellow. Move that over, that'll be good. It's just a little walkway that's in front the whole thing. All right, that's all I've got for that. I'm going to switch out my water here, go to a cleaner water, I should say. Now, I gotta create some trees. So I'm gonna grab some green. Grab a little bit of yellow. Grab some more green. It's a nice bright green that I'm gonna use for trees and for the grass, but I'm gonna do this in shades. Remember, you're going light to dark here. So I'm gonna go with my lightest layer first. see here, I deliberately did not use line in on this because I don't want there to be the sharp angles. I'm just going to be blending colors here. Oh, and I forgot I've got some over here too. I've got to get those trees. Great. Okay, that's a good start for that, for the green there. All right, now I've got to go a little bit darker on some points here. I'm going to bring my smaller brush in here. I'm just going to do little tiny points of highlight. Well, actually, it's technically shadow, but it's going to make it look like there's highlight. These are just really brushes that I'm going to have some fun. Go around here and put a little bit of take some yellow, kind of mess things up a bit. Just kind of put some touches, if it'll let me. Again, I don't love the trees there. I'm not a big tree guy when it comes to painting, but you know, you do the bits that you gotta do. And you know, I think I'm happy with this. So I'm gonna call it done. I'm gonna sign down here. And that's it. I'm gonna call it finished.